Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha Fahrbach. We won't be a new institution, no exclusive club. We are 6 deciding countries that have agreed to speed up together, stated Lars Klingbeil, the German finance minister in Warsaw, while visiting his Polish counterpart Monday. Now, Germany is openly backing a smaller group of countries to push ahead on defense, capital markets, and European sovereignty, with Poland invited into the core. Now, is this new leadership or the quiet arrival of a two-speed Europe? We'll discuss it all further and what the impact would be with Piotr Kaczyński, EU Institutional Issues Lecturer at the European Institute of Public Administration. Welcome back to TVP World. Let's jump right into this. So we're not an exclusive club. That's what the German finance minister said. But if we're looking at this, 70% of the EU's population GDP, is this anything else but a two-speed Europe in the making?
Well, good morning. Let me put it this way. There's a threat to any club like this, and the biggest threat, of course, is not what those 6 countries are thinking, but what the other 21 are thinking. So, of course, we can look at it, what the German finance minister is saying, but we should ask what the Belgian finance minister is saying, or Czech, or Swedish, or Portuguese, etc., etc. So that's the most important point here, because groups like this have a long history in the EU. Pretty much every couple of years, there's a issue. Oh my God, it's such a big block. How can we make it more, let's say, speedy? Can we make it speedy? Well, if we want to make it speedy, the EU, because of course, if you want to get one decision, it takes quite some time, then you need to have the same perspective. And this is probably what the German finance minister wants, that the perspective of those 6 countries, if they are on the same page of those 3 questions, for example, then everybody else is invited, of course, to have the same perspective. But those 6 countries, if they are on the same page, everybody else should be on the same page. So this is his point, probably, that if there are 6 countries together, then the 21 other countries will be in the same side as well. That's what they are trying to say, because clearly German Franco-German cooperation is not enough. Weimar Triangle is not enough, and other cooperation are also not enough. So maybe this engine will be better than the other engines, but probably it's not trying to do anything like two-speed Europe. I don't think so, because this has to be open for others. Otherwise, it's not going to work at all.
Mm-hmm. But you're saying it has to be open to others, but simply on those number 6, it simply isn't. And I'm just also curious on there's no mandate on this. This is just one of those formats that's come together, announced by the Germans with the French, actually, not too long ago. But in terms of how the European Union, all those member states, how they make decisions, I mean, at the end of the day, that's unanimity, right? And that's at some point qualified majority voting. So tell us how this may help or complicate all this.
Look, the 6 countries together cannot vote together against the other 21 countries to win any vote. That's clear. That's not even a case that those 6 countries are the most difficult ones, because the one standing out usually are countries like Hungary on foreign policy or defense issues, or Ukraine, or relations with the United States, and some of those issues relate to the defense matters that the German minister was mentioning. But the main focus here is on financial markets, and clearly here the landscape is that if you get the Dutch, the Germans, the French, and the South, and the Poles on the same page, then you pretty much symbolically have everybody else on the in your group, because of course the Poles, for example, they cannot talk only to the Germans and the French and the Italians and others from the E6. They have to talk with the Baltics, Scandinavians, Central Europeans, etc., etc. So you need to get others as well. For example, you are talking about unanimity, right? So you need 27 on the same page. Or if you want to something like what we saw in December, the 24 out of 27 say yes, but the three others are outside, Hungary, Czechia, and Slovakia. Then you need again to talk to 27 first, and then who's on the same page, 24. Okay, we are doing it within 24. Now the another question, of course, is who's going to put the agenda, who's going to be the most kind of visible person here, and would the big question would be, where is president of the council here, European Council, especially Mr. Costa? Where is the president of the European Commission as well?
And also, I think let's talk about symbolism here and weight. I mean, this isn't built on Eurozone membership. And most of these countries, out of these six, one of them, Poland, is not. And it doesn't look like that will change anytime soon. But if we do look at economic weight, and if we look at the GDP growth of all these countries, we actually arrange them as Poland first, right? They're going to be growing almost around 4% in 2026, with Germany at the bottom, barely scratching about 1%. So what about this? I mean, in terms of that, does that give Poland, in your mind, more weight, more, let's say, agenda setting, decision-making power at all in this?
It is clearly taking one indicator as a kind of entry ticket. It's the size of your economy, not the growth ratio, but the size of your economy. So, for example, if you take the Netherlands and Poland, those two countries, their economies are quite similar in terms of GDP. Over $1 billion. In Poland, you got this news last year that Polish economy is now the 20th biggest economy in the world, crossing over 1 billion USD for the entire economy, not per capita.
$1 trillion.
Or
yeah?
not the growth.
1 trillion.
Yeah, sorry, my $1 trillion economy. So this is exactly what this qualification is, not anything else. Because if you just take Poland without the Netherlands, then it looks like what Sarkozy was trying to do about 20 years ago. Big countries with the UK back then deciding big against the small countries. But here we are not looking at only the size, for example, population-wise, but we are looking at economy, the size of your economy, because bigger country than Netherlands in terms of population is, for example, Romania. But then the Polish economy size is again more like the Belgian or Swedish economy, or closer to them than the Dutch or even bigger countries out there. So clearly it is the smaller of those six countries. Hence, this is simply somebody had to put a little dot, and the German finance minister put a dot after 1 trillion without Belgians or Swedes.
Okay. And what about these main areas? I mean, there are about 4 areas this is going to be focusing on. Capital markets, strengthening the euro, which is interesting. As we said, Poland is not part of that. Looking also at defense initiatives, defense procurement, everything else. So on that one in particular, I mean, first question is, where do you think most of this progress can come from in this grouping? And where do you see, let's say, the most focus and success?
Look, if we were trying to look for positive solutions and not try to steer it negatively that it's 6 versus 21, but try to focus on what can they deliver where they were divided within themselves, is exactly those issues that the German minister was putting on the table. For example, defense issues. Poles or French are trying to have the argument where the Spain or Germany are a bit not so easy. Also, the Dutch are quite okay with this. That is the issue about how to make sure that the European defense is effective, how to make sure that the Europeans are spending more and this spending is actually translated into more effectively defense for entire EU. Whereas the Spaniards are saying, do we really need to spend more? And the Germans are like, oh, maybe we should just spending for ourselves. And should we spend at all? Because there are still a lot of voices inside Germany who are saying that Germany shouldn't spend too much on the defense. So you have those questions. But there's something missing that everybody is saying here, which is the big elephant in the room, which is MFF, a multi-annual financial framework out there, where those 6 countries, 3 on the south, Spain, Italy, and Poland in the east, versus Germany, France, and Spain, are on the opposite sides when the MFF issue is there. So if we have a compromise on the next budget, multi-annual budget for the EU between those 6 countries, this will be a big progress as well. Capital Markets Union, huge step in if only the Germans can change their minds about protective inside market. So let's see what can they deliver. Maybe the finance minister of Germany tries to convince his own partners inside of Germany that there needs to be more steps inside of Germany to make sure that Europe is delivering answers rather than national answers.
Yeah, and I think it's also, I want to get your say on this briefly. I mean, we looked at Mr. Klingbeil, the German finance minister, also vice chancellor there, from a party that, as you kind of alluded to, is not necessarily a big fan of spending more on defense, but yet here he is. How significant is that? And secondly, just really briefly, how much of this is this, let's say, Trump factor in all this, signaling to the United States that Europe can make faster decisions? Do you think that's included in all this at all?
I would probably prefer to stick to the word that Europeans liked so much in recent years, which is resilience. When you put the Trump factor on the agenda, then the question is, of course, about the resilience of the Union and the responses of the Union versus what's going on internationally. But we have seen over last days that the issue is not only on the kind of European Council question, right? What is between Trump versus Macron and Merz and Polish leadership, but the question is right now about international markets. We see what's going on with the dollar, and maybe that's exactly what the finance minister is quite worried about. Where is dollar going? And we need to have European answers, because financial markets are reacting very fast. Sometimes it's 1 day or 1 hour. So again, here I would again ask the finance minister of Germany, where is the invitation for the ECB chair and president, Mrs. Lagarde?
All right, interesting points there. So the E6, a new grouping across the European Union, aimed to do faster, speed up decisions. I'm sure we're going to cover it more in future. Thanks for all those insights as ever, Piotr Kaczyński. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay right here on TVP World for more news and commentary. Goodbye.